Well, hello there, humans, hippies, earthlings, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, and whoever you're doing it to. I'm Bushka on Blitz. Great to have you with me here tonight as we have another look at the Cent 701 in the pursuit of gun depression. We're going to be talking about gun depression today and why it's important and why it affects tanks and how you should be taking it into account. Now, this is a Patreon-sponsored post. For those of you who don't know, Patreon is a fantastic community and we've made an amazing bunch of human beings into a potential machine of death and justice in tanking terms. We've got an Asian boot camp on, Friday night, 8 p.m. We've got the NA boot camp at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, Sydney time, and the EU boot camp at 6 a.m. next Sunday, Sydney time. So those of you who are patrons, watch out for those things. Gun depression. What is it and why is it important and how should you be using it? And this is very straightforward. You'll see in front of me there is a gentle incline. I can go up that gentle incline and get shots over the other side because I can depress my gun down to a negative 10 degrees. And that means it goes down. Some tanks can't do that, as in the T-54, as in the T-62A. Typically, Russian tanks have pants gun depression. The IS-8, the Su-101M, the Su-122-54, they all have terrible gun depression. And British tanks and American tanks tend to have much better numbers on their gun depression. And why is it important? Well, you can be a hill fighter. Now, hill fighter sounds fantastic. It sounds like you're in the mountain ranges, you're rolling around, you're taking shots, you're doing all kinds of things. But in fact, that's not what it's about. It's less hill fighting and more gentle incline fighting. Because you can see here, I'm on a gentle incline. I've got hard cover on my left and I've got hard cover on my right. And I'm able to get shots all the time without missing them because I have excellent gun depression. It also is a fantastic tank, the Cent 701, in that it has excellent penetration numbers and a very strong turret too, but I digress. I'm using the tank for this purpose because I want to illustrate gun depression. Now, why is gun depression so important? The DPM, the raw DPM on a tank like the T-54 or any other tank you can mention is higher than the raw damage per minute numbers you're going to get on the Cent 701. Forget about HESH and all that. It's a theoretical device we're going through here. The reason gun depression is so important because it gives you more potential for getting shots on targets. And it's why even tanks that have low DPM, say, or guns that don't have big alpha damage can put up big numbers because on a lot of maps, you simply can't put shots on from certain situations. You can see this Cent here is having absolutely no problems putting shots on right, left, up, down, because it has excellent gun depression numbers. And what you need to be looking for on maps is little ridges like this. I'm going to show you another one here on Fort Despair, and this is really important. This one is mirrored on both sides of the flank. So there is one for the southern spawn, there is one for the northern spawn. You have a little bush next to a rock. Both of them have slight inclines up to the bush. And if you're in a T-54 or something like that, you've got to get more inventive because you can't actually fire straight through from up next to the cover. The Cent 701, however, can. And that's what I'm talking about as in potential damage. A T-54 could not have got this shot off. It just simply was not possible because it has 5 degrees of gun depression. And you see there we're using good game mechanics. We pull back from the cover. We're behind hard cover now. We reset our camouflage. We move forward and we look for more shots. And that's why a lot of people who first start out struggle with tanks like the T-62A and the T-54. And you may find that you're in this boat. You get the 62A and it's got a strong turret and all those kind of things. But I'll bet you if you are struggling in the 62A or the 54, it's because when you can't get a shot like this forward, the gun's pointing way up in the air, you'll keep driving forward until you can get the shot on. And when you can get the shot on, guess what? They can also get a shot on you. And you're getting drilled for it and it feels like the tank's very fragile and it's not what it's cracked up to be. Getting shots on without gun depression is an art form in itself that you've got to learn in tanks like the T-44, the IS-8, the T-54, the T-62A, the T-59, all these tanks, when you've got 5 degrees of gun depression, or in some cases like the SU-122-54 and the SU-101 and the SU-100M, you've got even less. When you don't have that gun depression, you've got to make sure that you drive it in a different way. Having gun depression allows you to be a little bit lazy with shots, because there'll nearly always be an opportunity to put shots in if you can see the target. The perfect combination in a gun depression tank is a strong turret and an excellent penetration gun, which the Cent 7-1 has. It's got 268mm of pen on its APCR, which is better than a lot of Tier X tanks on their APCR, if only by 2 or 3mm. So that's gun depression, guys. If you're struggling in tanks without it, the reason is you're probably exposing yourself to get shots. If you're not making the most of it in tanks that have it, like the STA-1, the Type 61, the STB-1, the FV-4202, both the Centurions, all these kind of things, then you need to be paying attention and looking for little bits of elevation in the map where you can shoot over, but no one can shoot over back. This is just... Now we've finished talking about gun depression, I'm going to talk about how odd this game is. We've got 4 mediums on the flank of the Dorf, the Himmelsdorf. You got to love the Dorf. I'm looking here to put a little bit of sniper fire in, maybe move up the flank, and our 62As just bail. We don't know why. The E50's followed him. We don't know why. We've got 4 mediums, they've got 2, and they're just taking off. They must have a plan, surely. So we follow over, because you can't take on a whole team with 2 people. And the 62A does appear to have a plan. It's to drive into a wall over there and just kind of fire, and he's driven all the way over here, and in a second he's going to drive back the other direction. So following him was possibly not the best thing we could have done. You can see the 62A has now decided that he doesn't want to come down here after all. He's just going to go back the other way. And not surprisingly, the 62A dies fairly early in the piece. He's probably being driven by a rabid monkey or something like that. Maybe a teenager even. That could be just as well. We've moved up down here, and it's all slowed down to a bit of a dull roar, and I've decided to call the world on. We've got to attack, we've got to get up there, because there's only one object 704, which means we've now got 6 angry red ants coming up the back door, and we do not want to be there when they hit. Poor old Rich is about to get hit from behind by multiple tanks at once as he turns to flee. One of them is a waffle tractor. It sets him on fire, and yeah, Rich gets flogged. He actually went back to give the 62A a hand, who just kind of meandered about the place some more. We put a blind shot in on the waffle, and lo and behold, we hit, which is great. Now this is what Hesh was invented for. German light tank destroyers, as I like to call them. The waffle, the grill, the Nashorn, all of them. They love a bit of Hesh. Can't get enough of Hesh. But we're now in a really tough spot, because the team appears to be a little bit confused as to its main purpose in life. Whether it's to kill enemy tanks or just get smashed. At the moment, they've gone down the let's just get smashed route. We're already down a fair bit. Rich is requesting clarification on what they're doing. This is why people blow up about this game. Anyway, I've seen a 183. He's coming down here. Now, I make an error with this COD. I'm going to go in and try and COD the 183. The error I make is thinking that there are a whole cubic buttload of tanks coming down this flank on my right, and that I can't actually stay behind him, or I'm going to get hit by them and 3 shots on me. So I decide to just take one from the 183 instead, because I don't want to be visible to those guys over there. And you'll see I bail out rather than go back around the COD, but I'm looking down there now, and I didn't need to do that, which is a big error really, but still we kill him. We take all his hit points. Someone else finishes him off. We get a nice snapshot here on a Leo PTA. You can see nice bit of gun depression. We haven't got that in a T-54, I don't think anyway. And now we're down to 2 on 4. Still spanking the IS-7, because 268mm of pen on your APCR will do that for you if you can find a drive wheel. I had a mastery game in the T-54, which I'll post up in the next couple of days, and a mastery game in the Patton today as well. and we completely missed that. You wouldn't think I had by shots like that, would you? And wow, I mean, driving the Cent 7-on-1, this is my favourite Tier 9 medium, by the way, the Cent 7-on-1. Driving the Cent 7-on-1 versus the 54, the penetration numbers are phenomenally bad. Just out of interest, watch this. There's an AFK T62A on their team. He's about to spot me right here. This is brutally rough. So our team got absolutely smacked by 6 reds, not 7, 6. And I could just be farming damage here shooting that AFK 62A, but that's not what we're about here at Bushka on Blitz. We're actually trying to win the game, despite them having like a full hit point E100 still available, and an IS-7 on my right, and we're screwed. We're proper screwed. One of the drawbacks of the 7-on-1 is that it does only go 40 kilometers an hour, so you can't really run very far. And when they've got an AFK, well, what are you going to do? You're perma-spotted. So that's a bit of a rough game. And I got lots of people saying, well, why don't you show us games where you don't win and all that kind of thing. So there you go. In fact, I think the last Cent 7-on-1 game I showed was a 5,800 damage loss. So there you go. 2 losses with a sum total of about 10k damage in them. That's how we roll here at Bushka on Blitz. That 62A was a lunatic. I don't know if he was lagging or what, but that was pretty funny. Rich got just the worst RNG in that one. Got dated from behind, trying to help the 62A out, who then fled back the other way again. All very much fun games. But gun depression, guys, let's just recap. Gun depression is really important because it allows you to put more damage on. So look for tanks with it because it's really important. And when you're in those tanks, try to use slight inclines and hills to go hull down, not show your chassis, get shots on and pull back. Don't be fooled by pure damage per minute stats, because while they're lovely things when you're circle of deathing a tank or you're in a brawl, they certainly don't carry the day when you're at 250 meters and you've got to go up an incline like I did on that Fort Despair map, and the only way you can get a shot off is if you've got 10 degrees or more of gun depression. That's it. Lots more coming, a lot more coming, and there's a Patreon only vid that I was meant to drop during the week, which I haven't finished yet, which I will drop on the weekend. Until next time, boys and girls, look after your family and stay safe on the battlefield.